Hey, BDLE here. Listen, gaming's getting too expensive nowadays. You want a new console? Sorry pal, the only way you get it is if you pay one kidney to finally let it escape some scalper's basement. You want a new PC to play the most recent titles? Well, you better cough up over $1,000 for a pre-built computer. This doesn't even include all the other things you're going to actually need for a decent setup. Even old consoles can be a bit pricey depending on who's nostalgic for what. Why, these high prices would almost possess someone to emulate. But you wouldn't do that, would you? Upset Daddy Nintendo like that? I believe you put expensive video games on an unbelievably high pedestal. A pedestal so high that we forget to acknowledge the quality seen in much cheaper games. Here, let me give you some examples of rare games and tell me if any of these sound appealing to you. NBA Elite 11, Barbie Groom and Glam Pups for 3DS, Family Fun Fitness Stadium Events. Would you honestly give any of these games a second glance if you found them in the store? Now we get to the reason for this video to exist. I made it my mission to search and play all of the cheapest games on each Nintendo home console, except for the Switch because that market's still fluctuating. The rules are, all these games are determined by GamePriceChart.com as of mid-June, so they might be way different now. They're judged on how expensive they are loose. Remember, cases are a luxury and we're gaming on a budget. No variants are allowed, only the original game is counted. No sports games unless they're notable for their quality, for example, NBA Jam or NFL Blitz. The same rule applies to licensed games. The game only applies if the general consensus is that it's a good game. For example, GoldenEye 007 or Aladdin for the SNES. Last but not least, to qualify, the game needs to have a general consensus of positive reception. So games that commonly scored lower than a 7 out of 10 don't count.
Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Starting with the NES, the cheapest game on here is Play Action Football. Expect to shell out a ridiculous $2 for this game. If you're wondering what it's about, I'll give you a hint, it's not baseball. As for the game that meets my criteria, I have an interesting piece here today. It must have been a fluke. According to my original script, the price was $4.12. Now, it's almost $7. Get this, for a brief moment in 2010, this game's average price was $25. So, is Air Fortress any good? Well, it was developed by HAL Laboratories, creators of, what's on the tip of my tongue? Revenge of the Gator for Game Boy. Oh, what an idiot. How could I forget? Air Fortress is a 2D shooter. Kinda. You see, for half the game you play as a flying roasted turkey shooting your way through a horde of enemies. Nothing really here to write about. It's a fun section where you can either use normal ammo or your bombs. Don't use the bombs, we'll go over that later. What separates Air Fortress from your average shooter though is the second part of each level, where it becomes an action-adventure game as you explore the Air Fortress in search of enemies. The interesting part about this section is your character's physics. With each shot of your gun, the recoil sends you flying back, adding an interesting angle to your usual run and gun formula. Like a closeted homosexual, balls are your worst enemy. The enemies right here are why you do not use the bombs throughout the level. They are killed only with bombs, so if you run out, you're pretty much going to have to commit suicide, which isn't fun in a game where you're given 3 lives before you're forced to restart. It's a great NES game, all things considered, and you can certainly spend $7 on a worse product.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
The SNES was the start of many changes for Nintendo. Jumping over to 16 bits allowed for franchises like F-Zero and Star Fox to be created, and older games got sequels that blew their previous masterpieces out of the water, like Mario World and Super Metroid and whatnot. But some people don't like change, so it's quite nice to see that some things never really do change. The cheapest game on the SNES would be Super Quarterback Club. Football. The game is about American football, just like the NES game, except with a touch of LJN. Available for a nice, crisp $2. With that out of the way, following my original criteria, the cheapest SNES game would be Zoop. Zoop is a puzzle game where you play as an arrow on an axis, trying to eradicate these unique shapes coming for you from every angle. The way you do this is by hitting the lead color with your arrow, and if your arrow corresponds with the color of your shape, then you'll eradicate the leading shape, and switch to the next color over, then being tasked to find a place where you can use the new color. But if you commit the cardinal sin of switching with the incorrect color, the line will get messed up, and once the line has like 4 colors on it, you might as well accept the run as a lost cause. Overall, I think the game is a fun time, and worth the $4 it's currently priced at. My only real criticisms would be the slippery controls and the lack of anything. The game has 2 modes, unless you count the options menu as a mode. Both modes pretty much have one distinct difference between them, and the only twist on the gameplay is the increasing difficulty and the occasional power-ups you find. I still have zero idea what the springs do. I'm just amazed this game didn't end up being hard to find. This suggests that a good chunk of kids in the early 90s found a game called Zoop with this box art and decided this was going to be the game that they spent their allowance on. It really was a different time.
When I wanted something for my Nintendo 64.
No sports games unless they're notable for their quality. Do you know why I implemented that rule? This is why. For $3.17, you can pick up another football game. But not just any football game, one that even football fans hate. This game's great. It serves as a great baby's first F-Zero. It has high-speed intensity mixed with fantastic music, which may be copyrighted, so just take my word for it, okay? But not quite F-Zero in the fact that I can live longer than 6 seconds. One interesting detail of this game is that before every race, they try and give you the history of the racetrack. A neat detail that I usually skipped. If I cared at all about the Star Wars lore, I'd have already made a video on how The Last Jedi was worse than the Holocaust. Another weird detail about this game is the racers. Like, you have Anakin and Sebulba, two obvious picks, but looking down the list, Dud Bolt, Toy Dampener, what the fuck is your last name? Juan Sandage? And the list goes on. The point being, this game is great for non-Star Wars fans, as they'll know just as much about the characters as anyone who's only seen the movies. My final point is because I couldn't find this game through an emulator, I ended up buying the Steam version. For some reason, it had this glitch where the camera was facing the pod racer from the front instead of the back. I know this is Steam exclusive because I actually have the physical copy of this game. And when I decided to play it once every, 100 years or so, I never ran into this issue. Luckily, this annoying glitch was fixed with my astounding engineering skills. And by that, I mean slamming my keyboard until the issue was resolved. Now, the question remains, is the game worth the price? I got this game on Steam for $3.49, so the obvious answer is yes. If you don't have $3.49 to spare, then I don't think playing video games should be your top priority. As of mid-June, this game's physical price is $6.49, which is a fine price for an old game, but the usual price on Steam is $9.99, which is an okay price, but I highly recommend just sniping a good deal instead. Given the fact it's Steam, the next sale will probably just automatically download it to your library. GameCube. Doth God leer at me from above? Rejoice, for thee hath found the cheapest game unrelated to American football, and thine savior's name is Happy Feet from the Nintendo GameCube. Remember Happy Feet? It's a movie about a penguin who's mute, but can tap dance, and came out in 2006. With the knowledge of the plot and time frame, I'm sure you know what kind of game this is. That's right, a shitty DDR clone. Well, the game sucks, it's 274, moving on. According to WorldPopulationReview.com, 1,465 American men tragically lost their lives during the Battle of D-Day. I'm going to make a fair assessment and say that about a quarter of those were my character on the first level. Coming in at a jaw-dropping $4, Medal of Honor Frontline gives the player a chilling lesson on the reality of war, teaching gamers that war isn't all excessive microtransactions and gigabytes. No, this is reality. Rule 1 of war. Stay focused. Wandering the beaches of Normandy like an idiot isn't a great idea. Rule 2 of war. When in doubt, run in place behind your fellow soldiers. You'll be impossible to kill. And finally, Rule 3 of war. Nazi soldiers may be your enemy, but your arch-nemesis is their ladders.
You utter fool! German science is the finest in the world!
I literally couldn't play past 20 minutes. Every time I got something accomplished, I died soon after, and like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, I would just wake right back up in the first mission. So you heard it here first, I don't like first-person shooters. So would I pay $4 for this game? Nope. Should you? I'd say the only reason you'd want to pick this game up is if you like the FPS genre. If that's not the case, fair warning, the opening is not forgiving to those who aren't experienced.
Escape to reality with the new precision of Wii Motion Plus.
On to the Wii. I knew without a doubt, finding the cheapest game on here that was good was going to be difficult. Why? The Wii was known for many things, one of those being cheap shovelware that polluted the library. The Wii's library was looking similar to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Just meters and meters of nothing but garbage as far as the eye could see. If it was an IP, it didn't even need to be good, nor successful, it ended up on the Wii. Rule 43, if it exists, there's a Wii game of it. For an honorable mention, I'm gonna put Draw Some Games here, only because the game is mostly meant for young players, so I don't think your average gamer above the age of fetus will get much enjoyment from this. Plus, it requires a separate accessory. So of all these shitty, asinine concepts ported to game form, which one got the shortest end of the stick? A game called Team Elimination Games, a game that's priced at, get this, $1.21. A fucking dollar, my guy. This game is so ass, apparently, that nobody even bothered to make a Wikipedia article on it. They just let this game get forgotten by time. I didn't want to put this game on here. I really didn't. I mean, come on, it's the most bare bones experience for a video game there is. but because it technically doesn't violate any of the rules I have in place, I'm forced to show my hand. So, what is EA Smarty Pants? It's a trivia game. That's it. No interesting twists or other modes. The game is pure trivia. You choose a guest, put in your age, then answer the questions within the allotted time. To spice it up, you can play multiplayer when you're not even able to play against an NPC. At least Medal of Honor had gameplay. Zoop was an interesting concept. After less than 15 minutes, I was already on the hunt for an extra single player mode. But nope, that's it. So, is this game worth $2.51? Because the Steam Summer Sale is happening as I write this, let me give you examples of games at or around the same price, much more worth your time. Castlevania Anniversary Collection, Bloons Tower Defense 6, Honey Pop, maybe not in front of your parents. Payday 2 is 99 cents. That is 2.5 of this game. You could play Payday 2 with a friend for the same price as the base game, not including shipping or tax. If you're so desperate for a trivia game, Steam has a cluster of them, and You Don't Know Jack has a base price of $2.99. A trivia game you will get so much more mileage out of. Also, there are plenty of free trivia games in your phone's app store, which will be a much more convenient device as you can't lug a Wii to the bank line or on the toilet. This is as long as you're okay with being bombarded with ads every few seconds. Hell, your local Dollar General or whatever will have some trivia card game for sale, like worth $1 or $2. Get this, when this game came out, it was priced at $50. $50. What kind of evil people would price this at, oh, literally, if you're under the age of retirement and you own this game, I don't want to say it. No, I gotta control myself. You're the living embodiment of the nerd glasses emoji. Oh, I'm sorry, that was too far. Alright, let's go to the next segment before I get cancelled.
Only available on the all-new Wii U.
On to the Wii U, the cheapest game on here would be the base pack for Skylanders Giants. A game that on paper doesn't break any of my rules, but I can't in good conscience place this game here. Only because in order to get the full experience of Skylanders, you need to buy more toys, which means more money is going to be spent for the full experience. From there, this game was so cool, oh my lord. My favorite part is when Hulk said Hulk smash and proceeded to make out with the submissive and breedable Tony Stark. As you can see from the name on the corner, I did not play this game. There is no reliable emulator and I'm too cheap to buy a graphics card. What's that? It's on Steam for $5 because of the summer sale?
Fuck you.
So yes, this means that I'll have to gauge if this game is worth the price. I mean, yeah, sure, it's less than $5 and is usually described as an average LEGO game. So a decent game that can last 12 to 20 hours on a main story alone for that price? Yeah, go nuts. And before you go, since this is an unremarkable licensed game, should it be on here? Just know that the next game up is an exercise game. Frankly, I'm amazed given the average Wii U owner this game didn't become super rare. And from there...
I'm gonna kill myself!
Wow.
I'm going to kill myself and it's your fault!
Thank you for watching. Drop a like and subscribe because I'm thinking about making this a mini-series. I'll let the viewers decide if I should do all PlayStation consoles and handhelds or all Nintendo handheld consoles next.